Stop the recording. So we are now recording this session. Good evening, everyone. We're opening up the Gardner Elementary School Building Committee meeting for April 27th, 2022. At this time, Dr. Hemmond, would you mind calling the roll, please?
Yes, Mark Hawk. Is he coming in?
He's connecting to audio, it looks like, so he's starting to. So circle back to him.
Okay, Mayor Nicholson, Mark Pellegrino,
Present.
Wayne Anderson, Earl Martin, Kathy Gogan, no, Joyce West, Jennifer
Joyce is
Clayton.
just entering.
Who is?
Joyce West is just entering too.
Okay. Joyce West, you there?
I am.
Thank you. Jennifer Plavin,
Present.
Robert Schwartz,
Present.
Ron Cormier,
Present.
Christina Thomas,
Present.
Ashley Chicklin, Robert Hankinson,
Present.
Heidi Generous, Josh Cormier.
Present.
I also notice on it is that we have Brenda Smith's on it, Alan Minkus, Tim Alex. Is Christian on yet?
I am.
Christian.
Thanks, Steve.
I see you there, Christian. And so I see Steve Rockwood is present too. Did I miss anybody? Oh, we have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Hemmond. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from March 16th, 2022?
So move.
Thank you. I heard a first. I heard a second. Who is that from? Thank you, Josh. All right. Thank you. Any discussion on the motion to approve the minutes from the March 16th meeting? Hearing no discussion, can we put the matter to a roll call vote? Dr. Hemmond?
Mark Hawk. Did Mark make it in?
He got kicked out again.
Mark Pellegrino,
Yes.
Joyce West,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
Ron Cormier,
Yes.
Christina Thomas,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Josh Cormier.
Yeah.
Did I miss any of the voting members? It's a vote, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Moving right along to number 3, approval of bills and orders.
Mr. Chairman, we have the following. There's going to be with Colliers, $91,103.48. Jones Winston, $110,000.096. Bacon, $3,220,294. And then those three, we could take those in a vote. I'm going to talk about the International Corporation in a minute, but we take a vote. If we take the vote on those three, that would be appropriate.
Move to accept the bills as presented.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you for a second. Thank you for seconding and thirding. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion on the motion, let's put the matter to roll call vote. Dr. Hemmond?
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Joyce West. Joyce? Yep, okay. Jennifer Plavin,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
Ron Cormier,
Yes.
Christina Thomas,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Josh Cormier. Did I miss anybody? Mark Hawk?
Hey.
Yeah, thank you. He said yes. So we got him present and yes, we have a vote on that, Mr. Chairman. Next,
Dr. Hemmond.
yeah, Mr. Chairman, we've been receiving invoices from, grab it. SHI, whatever, technology. And
Yes.
I put together that we've received them in a total of $639,831. And these I believe are being, when they're delivered, they've been going to some storage place that we have that's under control of the city. But what I'd like to do is have these approved, and then once we get the okay from our technology people, and Mark, I don't know, if Mark, we can check on that, then we can pay those bills. That's my understanding what's happening with these are technologies. Am I correct on that? Christian or somebody comment?
Yeah, we get the bills, they're shipped to the storage facility in Norfolk, and then as needed, we can pull them up from there.
Okay, do we have anybody there? We'll have to have some, make sure that they are there, that we've
Yeah.
received them, and then we'll do that. But
Yeah,
again,
we don't pay the bill until Casey confirms that they are at the facility and checked in.
so if the committee could approve those subject to being checked in, that would suffice, and so we can then pay the bills appropriately. So we have a
Yeah,
motion.
this is to make sure that we don't open a building with no technology
Yeah.
in it. So this is an important piece. So do I hear a motion to approve?
Don't move.
Thank
Second.
you. Thank you. Any discussion on this motion?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
I noticed in one of the invoices, we're buying 43 computer carts. I know they're charging carts. Are we moving anything over from Elm Street and Waterford Street? Does anybody know the answer to that?
Everything that is useful is being moved over. Anything that is past its useful life is being replaced.
It's not quite the answer I was looking for, but
well, I do
I
believe,
agree to it.
yeah, I do believe, Mr. Schwartz, that didn't we get the stationary charging stations?
no,
that
these are
correct?
carts.
For the new school? Does
Well,
anybody
I
recall,
presume-
Christian, do you recall what are the charging stations, the stationary ones that go in the closets, or are they mobile ones that are
They're mobile, but we do have specially built closets to store them inside of.
Yeah.
But,
The invoice says 43 carts, charging carts.
Yeah.
yeah. So those will go in the classrooms, and they can get plugged in while they're charging in an enclosed closet, and then can get wheeled into the classroom as needed.
And I presume the ton of computers that we're buying are all brand new. And I guess Mark is saying whatever we can move over will be moved over.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Not anything I like.
End
Just
of
so
my
you know,
discussion.
The total value of the purchase order that was sent to SHI was $704,126. So there are some things that are going to be coming in that haven't been billed yet.
Oh, okay. Wow. $750,000. Phew.
technology is expensive?
Yes, I know.
Any further discussion on the motion? All right, hearing no discussion, other than that somebody's got mail. Dr. Hemming, would you mind calling the roll, please?
Mark Hawk,
Yes.
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Joyce West,
Yes.
Jennifer Flavin,
yes,
Bob Schwartz,
Yes,
Ron Cormier,
Yes,
Christina Thomas.
Yes.
I just saw Ashley, you here?
Yes, I am here. Sorry, I'm still in my classroom.
Okay, can you say yes, please?
Yes,
Robert Hankinson
yes,
and Josh Cormier.
Yeah.
Is there anyone I missed? We have a vote, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Is that it now for the bills and orders?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. So let's move on to number 4, report from the OPM.
Well, I'll start off with just briefly on the finances. Again, we're doing well. You remember our total budget was just under $90 million. We've been billed through the 1st of April, just over 45 million. So we're really right at the 50% mark. Of that 45 million, we're anticipating that just over 29 million would be eligible for reimbursement. And of that 29 million that we get reimbursed, just over 23 million. So of the 45 that's been spent, we're expecting reimbursement of 23. So it's right about where we expected it. Again, there's a lot of site work, which is capped. by the MSBA. Reimbursement is capped at 8% of the construction costs. So even though your overall reimbursement rate is much higher, your net comes down to about that 50% mark, and that's about where we are. So we're looking good. We still have funds and contingency for anything that comes up, and we will be talking about a few things, changes tonight that we're going to look for approval on.
Okay, very good. Excellent.
As far as what is been taking place, just trying to find Matt's update, and I can share that if you'd like.
It'll be great. You can share.
Matt, you want to go into some of the
Sure,
recent activities?
sure. No particular order. Site work, they're putting in the fencing fabric down both Catherine Street and the Pearl Street access roads, as well as the precast curbing is starting at the top and then working its way down towards Pearl Street. They are digging out for some of the playgrounds out back behind Building C, kind of down the hill, as well as cleaning up the area across from our trailers, which is called the reclaim, I forget what it's called, replenishment area, or I can never think of the word. But that's being done. They're cleaning it up, putting loam down, and it will get planted eventually. What else on the site? Raising castings to finish grade. They did pave, by the way, the access road and the upper roads as well. So a lot of that has been done with the base course pavement. As far as building A goes, they're probably finishing up on the roof now. I saw them working on around the skylight, which is sometimes one of the little last pieces they do to tighten it up. Tape painting is pretty much finished up for the most part in building A. Casework is up to the 3rd floor, as well as putting in cubbies and so forth on the 1st floor. Flooring has started, finished flooring. Linoleum has started in building A on the 1st floor. They've got a couple rooms not placed 100%, but they're cut and laid out, but they just haven't been glued down yet. But they're prepping other floors as well. Light fixtures, majority of light fixtures are now in building A. They put in some of the more decorative architectural light fixtures. They look nice. There's circular ones, and there's a long one over the atrium. Speaking of the atrium, they also put up the storefront framing at the 2nd floor that overlooks the atrium, and they'll probably start glazing it this week. I saw the glass up on the floor. And building it, they've also now started the masonry work where they had to remove brick or stop brick because of the problems we had with the leaking windows. Now they are putting that brick back in, what they call toothing in, around the opening, just to dress up the opening. And they're going around the building doing that. So they have a bit to do there as well. And the remedial work that was done for because of the leaking windows, that's been basically completed, if not totally. I saw part of the east side the other day, wasn't done, but he was working on it, so he's probably finished by now. Building B, they're working on the GFRP, which is the paneling, the gray, different colored gray vertical panels that are going on the outside of the building. That's happening now over the cafeteria, on the gym side, as well as the building side, the regular building side. And they're starting the framing now on the front of building B on the west elevation, getting ready for those panels. Inside building B, 3rd floor down, finishing up taping. Most of the bathrooms have tile now, floor and wall tile. They are sheetrocking around the big skylight that's over the stairwell in the middle of building B. Control work is going on, miscellaneous electrical. Most of the mechanical work is done. The elevator equipment has shown up and is on the job, so that's a good thing. At least we don't have to worry about that being delayed. What else? Kitchen, they are tiling the servery wall, the south wall of the servery. They've sheetrocked pretty much half of the cafeteria, south wall and the east wall. It's been sheetrocked. What else? What else? Switchgear. Okay, yeah, looking at the list there. They are working on the generator, and they pulled cables now from the switchgear to the generator and switchgear to the transformer. Generator's not here yet, but it's pulled out to the pad. So they're getting ready for that.
Generators
What else?
due to arrive the first week in May, so it's imminent.
Right. Yes, it is. That's pretty much it for building B. Building C, they are painting. They've finished most of the toilet finishes. And doing brickwork on the outside of building C. I meant to say that also. On the west elevation, south elevation of C, they're doing face brick, as well as on the, they were doing it on the backside or east elevation of building B, kind of outside the cafeteria and kitchen. That whole wall has been bricked up now. I believe they finished finally the roof on building C. The metal roof is complete. And yeah, marker boards are hung, curtain walls glazed. That's pretty much it.
Okay, anything else?
I think we have some pictures here. So you can see they're finishing up the roof
Wow.
in that upper left-hand side.
Hmm.
Some of the casework in the media room. Toilet fixtures and tile work, floor tile in the bathrooms.
Oh, and also, excuse me, Tim, toilet petitions arrived either today or yesterday, so they're on site now.
Yep. And this is a hand washing area where the tile has been in. Again, more typical classroom casework. This is the connector between the A building on the left and the B building on the right. And a lot of this now has been glazed, but because this is when the window framing was going in. Matt mentioned the face brick. So that's that color here is the brick that's been installed. You can see this is where the masonry scaffolding is around. I believe that's the gym, and that's the connector between B and C. Matt mentioned the Gfrc paneling, and that's what this is. This is some girts that this material gets screwed into, and with the insulation behind it, but it's the staggered kind of panel appearance on the outside of the building. In the kitchen, you have this cleanable surfaces within the kitchen area. This is again under the hood in the kitchen area, so that will be lined up with the kettles and the stove tops, and all of your utilities will work through the stainless steel trough, and then the hood up top to take care of the fumes. Here you can see a picture of the floor tile in the kitchen area, and this is actually the serving area up front here. And then the serving line will be right along here where you see these stub ups coming out of the floor. And I think, oh no, we got some more. So we talked about casework going in the corridors and in some of the other areas outside the classrooms, and then within the rooms, the floor just being laid out, the sheet linoleum. You can see the casework around the perimeter. And I guess that is it.
Wow.
So any
Excellent.
questions about recent activity or upcoming activity, or what they're going to be doing this spring or as we kind of narrow in on the completion of the project. So I mentioned that we've paid about 50% of our invoices or the project budget out to date. Per MES, so I guess it's per DCAM and per the MSBA, we're required to give the contractors, each contractor, an evaluation at the 50% period, and then at the substantial completion. And there's a form that DCAM has us fill out, and at the 50% mark, we're required to sign it and send it off to the contractor so they know how we're rating them. But the rating doesn't go anywhere. It's really just kind of a heads up to let them know whether they're doing a horrible job or things are going well, or just kind of to give them a heads up. It doesn't count towards anything, but we're required to fill those in and submit those to the contractors and then submit the scores to the MSBA. So the way that the DCAM has set up their form, if you give them an average score, there's below average, there's poor, below average, average, above average, and excellent. And if you give them just an average score, they would end up with an 80 points out of 100. And that's the minimum passing grade. So if a contractor receives anything less than an 80, they've failed. And if they get, I believe it's 3 failures within a certain amount of time, then they lose their DCAM certification to do public work in Massachusetts. So it's important to them at the end of the project, not so much at the 50% point, but we are required to do it. So we go through and try and give it an evaluation. And based on the building not being done, we don't really know if everything's going to work. I mean, a lot of it's installed, but you know, the MEPs, the expensive stuff, you don't know if it's functioning. We tend to be pretty conservative when we're giving scores. So a lot of our scores are in the mid 80s. So they're above average, but not excellent, not yet at least. And I'm sure when we give those scores to the contractors, we're going to get some complaints. But really the bottom line is they're not failing. We don't have any major issues. They may want to see scores in the mid 90s because oftentimes people just kind of mail these things in. They don't really put a lot of effort into scoring them just because they want to avoid the nasty emails or phone calls when the contractor gets their scores. But so far we've given just about everybody between 82 and 85. Yeah, I'm just looking, 85 is the highest. So what we're going to need to do is have the city sign these. We will sign them. We'll submit copies to the contractors. We'll submit a summary of the scores to the MSBA. And then we'll wait for the feedback from the contractors, or sometimes they like to set up meetings and talk about their score and what they can do better, which is great. But this will be important really when we get towards the end of the project and we're closing out and we're trying to give them a score that's actually going to count against their certification. But we wanted to let you guys know that that's at a point where we're at now. And so we're going to be looking for somebody from the city to sign these.
Generally, it is the superintendent more times than not. So Mark, if you don't have any problem signing it, I can get together with you. We could just sign one copy and they'll, they get scanned anyway. And it's the last page that just has our signature, your signature. It can be attached to any of them. Will you be around tomorrow morning sometime?
Yep.
I'll swing by. What time would be good for you?
In about 8 o'clock.
Okay. I'll have that. I have it with me so I can come right in there. Okay, great.
Okay.
So then that's
you.
all we have as far as our report.
Excellent. All right.
yeah. Actually, excuse me 1 second. I don't know where this will fit into the picture. Like, let's, it's new business. We're gonna do a new business or something?
No,
I can
not,
do it
yes,
then.
later, Matt.
Okay,
Let's
Then
go with the
I will
agenda.
wait. Good.
Okay. Are there any questions for the OPM?
Yes, I have a question. Matt, could you define clearly what is meant by a standing seam metal roof?
It's, well, obviously, it's a metal roof. What you've seen them all over on farmhouses.
Yeah,
They have a
that's
vertical.
the
a
ribs that
vertical
it
portion. Ribs.
shows in one of the pictures, the ribs. That's the standing seam. Is that what that is?
Yes, yes.
All right.
It actually, a machine runs up. They pull it with the rope, one guy in each end, and they pull it up and it bends it over and crimps it into its final position. They go up and
Okay.
down in each one, but that's the product.
I just wanted to get educated on steel roofs. Thank you.
There you go. You're welcome.
All right, is that it, Mr. Schwartz?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions for the OPM? Okay, hearing no questions, let's move on to the report from the architects so we can talk about change orders, our favorite subject.
Thank you, Mark. Tim, you want me to share my screen? I can pull up change order 15.
Yeah, if you
want it?
wouldn't mind, Christian.
Sure. It's, oh, I think maybe you need to
Tim, you need to
Stop
close
do
out.
yours first. There we go. Let's try now. Perfect. Okay. So this is change order 15 that was included in the packet that Dr. Hemmond sent out to everybody. I guess just to kind of read through them very quickly, thresholds to select aluminum doors. This was just thresholds needed under the doors between different types of flooring. Tile to west wall of kitchen was a request from the health department that we have tile on the west side of our kitchen wall. Corey tile to walk-in, same thing. We're adding Corey tile to our walk-in coolers. Fur out B-wing walls was just a very small adjustment that needed to be made in the field. Relocate custodial sink was on the second floor of the B-wing. Again, a coordination with piping and had to be adjusted slightly. 236 is divide workshop into multiple rooms. That was one that basically the district decided to have better use of a space, and so we divided it up into a series of smaller rooms. It was a little more complicated because it did require some changes to HVAC and electrical and also some new doors. And so that's why the price was a little bit higher than we had hoped, but that came in at $42,753. Edging between pavers and asphalt is to keep the pavers kind of locked in place out in the landscape. And so that they will hopefully last longer over time and not separate and get start shifting. Tile and graphics to the art wall is again kind of a change in direction that we did under the stair 3, the main monumental stair. And now we have a really nice, we have tile on one side of it, and then a slightly, manipulated photo from a local photographer of a local kind of wooded scene. It looks great. Curb between pavers and asphalt, the same thing to lock those pavers in place more than just the asphalt would do on its own. HVAC valves to isolate each building will be helpful going down the road for maintenance of the building, but was also kind of a request from the contractor, and that they'll be able to isolate each building, and then they'll be able to test each wing independently. And so that helped with schedule, which was a great thing. Soffit in A317 was an additional soffit to cover up some piping. Modify water closets at tile trim. Oh, this was toilets that were conflicting with, we had a small cove base at the bottom of our wall to floor transition at the tile. So we had to modify those toilets to fit in there. 253, 266, 267, and 268, the ones that I have these blue lines by, Those are ones that we've added since we've met with the finance subcommittee. So I'll pull those up in just a little bit. 254 was a credit for chip seal at asphalt coating, which was decided it was not necessary on the back of the school. Swing set changes, we reduced the size of some swing sets and shifted some things around. There will be some additional landscape costs, so this will offset it somewhat. I still think it will be a net positive, but this is kind of step one of that process of changes. And then increased type B sign size is we increased the size of our classroom signs so that you could get a small little whiteboard where you can have more of a temporary sign on that part of it, while still maintaining the braille and the standard classroom size above. So those were all covered with the finance subcommittee. I guess it is now 3 weeks ago, since we're having this meeting a week late. Any questions on those that I ran through very quickly? Great.
On
And then-
the
go ahead,
on the
Bob.
curbing and the edging, is that going to be granite or concrete edging?
The 243 is a concrete curb between the pavers and the asphalt. We do have some granite curbing where it's most likely to get nicked up. But this, I think, is in the back of the school. And so that's where it's going to be concrete. And
Okay.
then this edging on 237 between the, oh yes, no, that is correct. On 237, it's not a curb, it is just a metal edge band. So I think it's
Oh.
actually made out of steel.
Okay,
And that helps lock it in.
okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, so then just these few, and then as Tim mentioned, there were a few more that came up this morning that we'd also like to go in, but these are the few. This was also included in the package that Dr. Hemmond distributed. So this one I just wanted to go through. I wanted to go through a few that we rejected also, just so everyone's aware of them. Sometimes we don't cover those, but these, it seemed like it was a good idea. So at the slide platform, these are the slides on the eastern side of the school. You go outside of the cafeteria and they kind of follow the grade down. And then there's a slide. It's not the old kind where you climb up the stairs. You actually just kind of start from the grade and then go follow the hillside down. We had thought about including a guardrail around those slide platforms at the top. The cost came in much higher than we had hoped or anticipated. And so in talking to Stimson, they decided that they'll place large rocks near the slide platform. And that way we won't have, the height difference, which would require a guardrail. So we rejected that potential change order. This one, 253, we do recommend approval. This is a similar Board of Health request. Where a cove base, so that the tile kind of kicks out a little bit at a radius between the wall tiles and the this is for the walk-in coolers. 258 was another one that we rejected, and this was a handrail that we were thinking about incorporating in the granite steps, again near the slide area. But because the granite steps are basically a play element, it was decided that this was really not necessary. 266 was a request from the district to add inner ducts at the fiber duct bank from the middle school. And Wayne might be able to get into this a little bit more detail than I can, but basically it offers the district additional flexibility in kind of subdividing that fiber duct bank at the middle school. 267 is to the north, the basketball hoops. We have 6 basketball hoops in our gym, and 2 of them are on the north side of the gym. They're basically, for when the kids are just shooting free throws. They're not the primary hoops on the east and west side, but 2 smaller hoops on the north. And the top part of them will be bolted to the CMU wall. The bottom part of them actually is going to rest against a wide flange beam that's exposed in the gym. And so there was some question about how to make that work. We can bolt into the concrete block just fine. But how do we attach it to that wide flange beam? So what we're actually going to do is we're going to weld a connection to the wide flange beam, and then the basketball hoop's going to fix to that. And that's a $630 change. And then 268 was one that we changed, we padded out a wall for a water cooler. This happened a long time ago, but the tiler missed the change and supplied a PCO more recently for new tile along that wall. And the costs look reasonable, so we recommend approval at $4,533. So those are all incorporated into change order 15 here for a total of $110,452.
Excellent. Thank you, Christian. Do I hear a motion to approve this?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Henningston.
Second,
Thank you, Mr. Hawk. Any discussion on the motion? All right, hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to a roll call vote. Dr. Hemmon?
Mark Hawk,
Yes.
Mark Pellegrino,
Yes.
Joyce West,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
yes,
Ron Cormier,
Yes.
Christina Thomas,
Yes.
Ashley Chickwin,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Josh Cormier.
Yeah.
Did I miss anybody? Then, Mr. Chairman, we need a motion to, that the new contract sum would be $63,608,607.49.
So moved.
Second,
Thank you and thank you. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to a roll call vote.
Mark Hawk,
Yes.
Mark Pellegrino,
Yes.
Joyce West,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
yes,
Bob Schwartz,
yes.
Ron Cormier,
Yes.
Christina Thomas,
Yes.
Ashley Chickwin,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
and Josh Cormier.
Yeah.
Did I miss anybody? It's a vote, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Christian, are you all set now?
No.
Okay.
I just remembered. Let me quickly review the two that came up this morning. And this is, and I don't think we need to take an official vote on it, but it would be good just to hear if, I don't know, Steve, if you think we need an official vote, but just to get an approval, this would go into change order 16, but mostly we just want to see, make sure you're okay with it. For a not to exceed. These are some that came in very recently, so we really haven't had a chance to review them in detail. But we would like to review in-house, and then if they are okay, approve them as quickly as possible, just because Bacon has indicated that they're of an important time constraint nature. So 260, PCO 260 is for 8,793. Again, this would be a not to exceed. This is to adjust the height of the curtain walls at the very front of the building. This is basically the detailing for how the roof was actually installed changed a little bit. And so we're going to have to trim a little bit out of the curtain wall. We worked very closely with Bacon on this, and I think we're able to do this in a good spot where it will only affect a spandrel panel, which is kind of a filled in glass area that you can't see through anyway. It will require a little bit of a change to the roof. So I think there is some cost in here from the roofer as well. And again, we've only looked at this today, but we would like to request a not to exceed for 8,793 for that one. And then the second is a loading dock stair. This is number 239, and we've looked at this for a long time. At first, it seemed like we needed to do a custom stair there. And this was an issue of a filed sub bid where it was not included in the Miss Metals scope. And so that's why it's an add to the project. But again, we spent a lot of time out in the field looking at it, and I think we can do it with a prefab stair. So this is about $4,000 or $5,000 cheaper than going the custom method. And so again, approval not to exceed of $8,927 for PCO 239.
Christian, we do have a meeting of the subcommittee on the 4th, so they could do a final approval of this if they want to.
That would be great.
So the committee can see what we're talking about.
Excellent.
Okay,
Very good. So no vote. Christian, anything else?
No, I'm ready to go on the plaque and but I'll wait for those to come up.
yeah, well, that's actually next, Mr. Chairman, is the plaque. So is that okay if Christian could bring the plaque up? Just to let everybody
Absolutely.
know that we've done checking and we've put people's initials in or thing there. So this is what, and this is in your packet. So we just want to make sure everybody approves. This is what the plaque will look like. And if we're okay with that, we'd like to be able to proceed with that. Is there anybody that has any changes or anything we need to do? We misspell something or miss something? Then please let us know. And on the city council, I spoke to the president of the city council and she asked the clerk to contact these people, which she got a hold of and waited for their responses. And then we put in what they wanted for say middle initials.
Ann Hurst's last
Ann.
name is spelled wrong.
There's no E on the end of Hurst.
Yeah.
That's what we want to know, so we don't screw it up. Thank you. All right, Christian, take that out. Anybody see anything else? If not, we don't need to take a vote. We're just saying it's a consensus, everything's there. And someone sees something, please let us know immediately.
Excellent.
Okay. The next thing, Mr. Chairman, we have is the time capsule. Do we want to do a time capsule or not? So we'd like to get an answer today. Do we want to have a time capsule? And if we
No.
talked about putting, I know, Mrs. Manager Hawk is saying no, and this is where I'm going to have to be a little.
I second Mr. Hawks.
I disagree with both of you. But again, if you want to do it, that's fine. If you don't, then we end it. But it would go, where would it go, Christian? Under the stairs there?
Yeah, this was what we were recommending. I know it's kind of traditional to put it in a wall, but we don't have a lot of space in our walls. And so this seems like a great place. It's at the bottom of the monumental stair. It's going to be a space that's enclosed anyway. You could put in something, you know, it's basically a storage closet that's under the stairs. So, you know, the size of that red triangle I just drew could change depending on whatever size chest you want to use for your time capsule.
Unless we put in a full-size statue of the superintendent and the principal of the new school, I would say no and agree with the incoming principal of the school.
Well, I can just tell you traditionally, a lot of schools and buildings, they do have a time capsule in 40, 50 years from now when they open it up. It's nice to see what it was like back then. So, but that's up to this committee. And so, Mr. Chairman, if we could have a vote.
So
or
what,
consensus
first
or
off,
whatever.
first we need a motion.
I'll make a
Shall we?
motion that we include a time capsule.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Cormier. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Any
Schwartz
further
and I
discussion?
will be here to open it.
I'll be around.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Any thoughts on this?
If we did do it though, right now, this is just a vote, yes or no, if we want to do it. We don't even know what we're going to put in it.
Correct. That's correct.
Generally, somebody gets selected to kind of spearhead the whole thing. You know, what in the building committee to, you know, to find out from different people what they might want to put in it, and come to some consensus and kind of run with it. So that's.
Or if we don't do it, we don't have to have someone doing that job.
Ashley, what do you think? Do you want to team up as teachers to spearhead something like this? I don't know. I feel like for the kids, it's kind of a cool thing to have something go in there. Them being the first ones, it's the first elementary school we built for the
Yes.
city. So I feel like education wise, I think the kids would really enjoy it. And I think it would be neat to be able to have that in the new building.
Yeah, my own children had early childhood at the high school. They've had early childhood at a junior high. I agree, Ashley. I think if the committee votes for it, that we could do something together. For
It's
each in a
really,
different building. Bring it together.
We've got 2 volunteers, so let's see.
it's really all about the kids. And it really would be a historical event that the first students in the school do something like that. And then 40 or 50 years down the road, they open it up and say, wow, this is what they did. Well, this is what life was like back then.
Is this
So I
something?
think,
Oh, sorry, Rob.
go ahead.
Is there a date that like it would have to be the stuff that we're putting in, it would have to be completed by? Because I think that would make a difference because our end of the school year is definitely wrapping up fast. But if it's something that we could do in the beginning of next school year to finish it off or something, I think it would be completely feasible to do something really cool with the schools that merged together too.
Yeah. Ashley, just to comment, because I've been involved in a couple of them, yes, there would be starting in the fall doing that. And a lot of times it's at the dedication, when you open it up officially, a dedication ceremony, things are put in then, and then it's put away. Then it's in the wall, whatever we put it. So yes, that would usually happen once the building's opened, and then you make decision what you want to put in for it.
Christian,
I
how do you plan on closing it in? Is it going to be like sheetrocked in front and busted open later on, or a door?
Sealed so that people know, so they'd have to try to go in there and really break into it. You don't want people going in and after 5 or 10, 15, you want to wait out
Right.
a good number of
Well,
years.
One of the good things about that is you're not too restricted on the size of what you want to put in there. It just kind of would take up a little more room. So if you had a tote or some kind of a thing, it doesn't have to be a true capsule like they would bury, which is, stainless steel and all that. And this way you could, get a tote or something, seal it up, put it in, and have plenty of room for things.
I made the
Like a
motion.
full size statue of Earl Martin. That would be, I think this is,
I've been
Okay.
swayed. I've been swayed towards it now, but
Mr.
May have
Chairman,
to go to a
can we
bus
take a
instead.
vote now, please?
is there any more discussion or questions on this? Okay,
Ready?
I'm sorry, Dr. Hemmond, please put this to a roll call vote.
Mark Hawk,
Emphatic no.
Mark Pellegrino,
Yes,
Joyce West,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
Yes,
Bob Schwartz,
Yes,
Ron Cormier,
Absolutely.
Christina Thomas,
Yes,
Ashley Chickwin,
Yes.
Robert Hankinson,
By all means.
yes, Josh Cormier,
yeah.
and Earl, I didn't get your vote. Earl, you just came in.
My answer is contingent upon the statue. No statue. No, just kidding. I've been swayed by the enthusiasm of the committee. I am a yes.
The vote is it is a vote with all but one person voting yes. So it's passed.
okay. So are
I
we
have-
now does somebody make a motion for Mark Hawk to be in charge of spearhead this thing?
I'll
Yeah,
take that as the
almost.
punishment.
Mr.
I just
Chairman,
have
the
one
last thing
comment if I could.
Absolutely,
before we
yes.
move off.
Sure.
If we're talking about doing this in the fall when it opens up, who's going to build that wall? I mean, that would be the contractor, right?
What Wayne will do it since he's not here.
There you go. And Mark can help him.
Yep.
we'll talk with the contractor. after
We'll
this
make
thing.
it pretty easy to get in there, but if we could get a general idea of the size so we can adjust where that wall is to, We can roll in a bust of Earl Martin sideways, but not vertically.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, the next important thing is, I got a request to go up for the building committee to go see the on-site visit. And we've got a possibility, May 18th is our building committee and 19th was our planning A, B, and C committee. We thought we could combine them. So on the 18th or 19th, we could have a building committee meeting. I would suggest we might want to start at the middle school. It's just inside the lobby there, and have a short meeting. We'd have to approve some bills and stuff. And then we could go up and take a look at the school. So I think people would like, we haven't been up there and we haven't been up there in a while. So we just need to know what date people would like to go up, 18th or 19th. And I know Christian I talked to Christian, said he's only available on the 19th. But I don't know, we just need to get some consensus. What do people want? And do you want, I assume you want to go up and take a look. I don't think people have been up there in a long time.
The 18th works better for me on Wednesdays, just because that's kind of our standing meeting. So it makes it a little easier on that day.
Makes no difference to me. It's important for you to be up there, so. And what we would do, we'd start our meeting at 3:30 at the middle school, and then from there we'd park, and then we'd drive up to the site and be there at 4 o'clock, and maybe no more than not 4 to 5 or less. But you can drive your cars up, and it should be at that point. Matt, am I correct? There should be enough parking spaces for everybody at that point. Most of the workers are gone. So we just need to know what date does people want, Mr. Chairman?
I'm okay with the 18th or 19th. So let's do it this way. How many people cannot do the 18th? Josh can't do the 18th. And Christian, you can't do the 18th. Right?
I don't mind
Are there
going
any-
another time.
Yeah.
I don't mind going another time. I don't want to keep the whole committee. It's just.
Yeah,
My
so,
daughter's a
yeah,
senior
so-
with a tennis match that day, so.
Okay, so next question is there anybody who can't do the 19th?
I can't.
I cannot.
Okay, so there's several people who can't do the 19th, so we're gonna choose the 18th.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll make that arrangement. And the only thing I want to suggest, make sure everybody, you wear shoes, that little hiking shoes, because it still could be a little muddy up there or whatever, so wear appropriately. I don't think we're gonna need, Matt, do we have to have, or would we need to have helmets, or are we okay? I mean,
I don't, personally, I don't think so, because no work's going on at that point.
Okay. If someone feels they
They
want
get
to
a
wear
little
one,
anal about it. and
yeah, if someone
that's
wants to
something.
wear one, we'll have some there, so. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'm all set.
Excellent. Any other new business, other business, or old business? Nothing else?
I have new
Mr.
business.
Chairman,
Yes.
I just
yes.
wanted to congratulate Ashley and Christina on their co-chair of the capsule committee. Congratulations.
He wants to make sure that's solidified.
It will be the best one yet. Don't you worry.
I did have one question, one thought before we
Sure,
wrap up.
Christina. Yeah.
Years ago at Waterford, when I started way back in 1999, they planted a tree from, I believe it was the John Chapman Association, was an apple tree right in front of Waterford where the buses pull in. And every year in the kindergarten curriculum, that's just part of our signs of fall and signs of spring. As we walk by it, we draw it, we write about it. Is there any room for an apple tree at the new school, whether it's down by the base of the driveway? Any
Time
thoughts on
capsule.
that? Sorry, Matt.
Time
missed that.
capsule.
Couldn't resist.
He said time capsule.
We can look into it.
Yeah, I'd like to see one planted, whether it's donated by some teachers that enjoy that kind of thing, or.
The average 44 students stung by the bees that swarm that apple tree every year, but no, I'm only kidding.
I know you're kidding.
Are you talking about relocating it or just planting another tree?
No, it is a
Similar.
huge, beautiful tree now, and it's become part of the Waterford neighborhood. I was thinking a sapling and doing it all over again for the next batch of teachers in the upcoming decades. And students.
Could change up the curriculum, plant a maple tree, get some maple syrup.
Get on that,
Sell
Mark.
it.
Get on that.
All it is, elementary school maple syrup.
Good
I'll talk
fundraiser.
to.
Okay.
our landscape
So
architects
there's
about
some
that.
that's going out. So that request goes to Christian. So thank you for bringing that up now, Christina. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Yes. I
Public
have
comment?
one.
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I do, Mark. I guess this question is really for Earl, since I was out last week with COVID and couldn't do the walkthrough at the schools. I need to reschedule. In this case, obviously, we don't have school break, the ability to do it then. Could I schedule for something like 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Is there any particular day?
Yeah, no,
Work?
we could definitely do that. Yeah, let me just look. Thursdays are usually a good day for me, but
Okay,
Actually, so Matt, why don't you and Earl work that out after this meeting? You guys
Okay.
can email, and because I'm sure he's going to have to look at, a good time for that. So are there any other things
do.
that need to be brought up before the committee? All right, great. Mr. Rockwood, any public comment?
Yes, a couple of weeks ago, I was up along the Pearl Street side of the property, and there was a lot of trash down there. I spoke to Matt about it. It got cleaned up quick. I just want to thank him for paying attention to what's going on.
thank you. You're welcome.
Excellent. All right, is that it? Very good. Next meeting date is May 18th, we said, and so is the next meeting date. No need for executive session. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Just so everybody will remember, we're gonna be meeting 3:30 on the 18th at the middle school, starting there. I'll be sending information out, but just to remember, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, thank you.
Very good. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
I know.
See you.